Okay, so in case y'all don't know me or know who I am, which y'all probably don't, but my name is Trayce. I wanted to make a video about Kings Club and what it means to me. Um, for starters, I'll give a short background about my past and where I grew up at and things like that. So I grew up in a single parent household. Me and my mother are very close, very close, if you can't tell. But we lived in Beaumont for the majority of my early life. So the first 13 years of my life, we lived in Beaumont. Um, for a portion of the time, we lived in an area in North Beaumont called what people call Hellbig. Um, that was probably one of the most defining times of my life, as far as what I went through and the trials and the tribulations that God brought me, for a lot of reasons. My mom was a hardworking woman. She still is to this day, but she's a hardworking woman. She had, I remember her having, at one point she had 3 jobs, and she was just always worked hard and supported me the best she could. I also had great family, around me. I had a great support group. I had my uncle. I had my grandpa, my step grandpa, my grandpa, my nanny. I had a great family that took me in later on in life after I moved the nights. But besides that, or anyways, so I grew up in this area in North Beaumont called Hellbig. Um, I mean, I was a troublemaker as a young man. I was I wasn't hell bent. I'd say I was mischievous and kind of witty and like to talk back, attitude, things like that. So I'd come home, I'd get in trouble at school, and then if my mom was at home, I would go and run the streets or whatever, ride my bike wherever I wanted. And then for a young man, that was a way to get in trouble, especially in the area. Um, so I, growing up early in life, I was very resentful uh, um, at the situation I was in, and that a lot of anger was towards God, um, but and what I was going through at early in life, and of course there are always somebody always has it worse. At that time, I didn't realize that. Now that I look back, God has blessed me with so much, um, with opportunity and people around me as well. So back to Kings Club. Sorry, I just wanted to give you a little bit of my testimony, but back to Kings Club. Kings Club is a ministry in that part of Beaumont, and it's focused on empowerment and not handouts or not some of these organizations will go and give to people and they won't empower them. They'll just increase their dependency. Um, King's Club is empowerment through the grace of God, through the Word of God. Um, Often tutoring the younger generation, middle school ages, elementary ages. One-on-one tutoring. Their parents can drop them off at no fee. It's a nonprofit organization, and that is something I feel like I would need. When I was there, I needed that so much. I need something. Of course, now I went to the Salvation Army, but that was paid. But it'd be so much better for my mother and for our family as a whole if I went to somewhere, that my mom didn't have to pay. It's such a big burden, even just the small payment for the summer. But anyways, it's about empowerment and empowering the young men and focusing on education and mentoring, and that's how I got involved. I actually got involved through another mission trip to another urban center, Galveston Urban Ministries, and a girl there spoke about one in Beaumont, and it was probably 2 years ago or something, or no, it was a year ago. She spoke about it, and I asked her about it. I said, where's this located, because I never heard of it. I never heard of King's Club. And she told me about it, and then I reached out to Miss Angie, who is the leader of it. She started it. She puts her heart in it. She's passionate about it. She's passionate about the people, and all of that. And I reached out to her. I told her my story. I said, "Look, I'm from here. I know some people that are still here, and I want to give back. God has blessed me to. I moved out of that situation when I was probably 13, and it still was rough out after that, but it was the change in environment helped me a lot in my support group. But after that, I said I wanted to be involved, and I think something that kind of I think about for Kings Club and for me personally is my church has a saying. It's called "We are rescued to be rescuers," and that's something that I think about when I'm involved. I was rescued from that situation and from that environment, not to, go and just forget all about it, but to come back and, help as much as I can for these young men that need a figure in their life. And of course, I'm not, perfect. I'm not, but I still want to be there and, tell them that there's more than one way, and, you can do it through God. It's not explicitly for that, but God can do things in your life that you can't do on your own. And that's what I want to express to these young men. Some of these are mad about their situation. At one point I was, my mom worked her hardest, but, I was still angry about why me? Why can't I have everything or have that, what they have, and King's Club is just a great tool for that. It's very face to face, with the community. It's not hand you something and then leave. It's, let's sit down and talk about it and talk through it. And let's nurture a relationship, And Miss Angie has been working on that for, I believe, 7 years, maybe more. I think it's 7 years. She's been in Plymouth Village. She's been in the Mongolia, or not the Mongolia. I can't remember that apartment complex is. But she's been to Plymouth Village, and they know her. They know her. And that's a great thing. And I think that it's inspiring to me to see somebody, she's not from there, to see somebody, that's not from there, comes from a very different background and shows love. And that's the grace of God. Like that's the love of God in her heart. But yeah, that's what I wanted to